Have you ever considered that the very first hour of your day holds a powerful key to your longevity? It might sound surprising, yet evidence suggests that your actions right after waking could significantly influence whether you celebrate your 90th birthday and many more beyond it. Astonishingly, a vast number of individuals unknowingly engage in morning rituals that could be hindering their long-term health, often before they've even had their first cup of coffee or bite of breakfast. In this discussion, we will explore 7 specific morning practices consistently adopted by people who enjoy exceptionally long and healthy lives, often well into their 90s and even past the century mark. And here's an encouraging tidbit. The 4th habit we'll cover requires merely 30 seconds of your day, but possesses the potential to add precious years to your lifespan. These insights are often overlooked in standard medical advice, but the supporting research is compelling and difficult to dismiss. If you're finding these initial thoughts intriguing and valuable for enhancing your later years, please consider giving this video a thumbs up and subscribing to Old Age Wisdom for more practical advice tailored to living well after 60. Let's consider the inspiring journey of Walter. When Walter reached 65, he observed many of his peers beginning to grapple with significant health challenges. Cardiovascular diseases, declining mental sharpness, and difficulties with mobility were becoming commonplace among his circle. Fast forward to today, Walter is a vibrant 93-year-old who maintains his independence, still operates his vehicle confidently, and dedicates his time volunteering at the local community garden multiple times each week. What accounts for this remarkable difference? It isn't solely attributable to genetics. Most of his relatives rarely lived beyond their mid-70s. The pivotal change occurred when Walter learned about and diligently implemented 7 distinct morning habits following a health seminar he attended at age 65. These seemingly minor adjustments fundamentally altered the course of his health. While others his age experienced decline, Walter flourished. When inquired about the secret to his vitality, he unhesitatingly credited his morning routine. "What I commit to doing in that first hour after I wake up," he confided, "has truly been life-saving for me." Today, we are privileged to share Walter's transformative morning secrets with you. Are you prepared to uncover the morning practices that could profoundly reshape your health journey after 60? Let's begin exploring them. Habit 1. Prioritize immediate hydration. Do you grasp what occurs within your body if you begin your day without replenishing fluids? As you sleep, your body naturally loses water, leading to slightly thicker blood by morning. This places an unnecessary burden on your heart and brain right from the start. The very initial action taken by many centenarians upon waking isn't reaching for their smartphone or switching on the television, it's drinking water. The timing of this simple act is exceptionally important. Prominent nephrologists and longevity scientists at Harvard Medical School have discovered that dehydration accumulated overnight can speed up the aging process by as much as 31%. Dr. Jessica Rothman, overseeing renal health research at Harvard, clarifies, during sleep, your body gradually becomes dehydrated. This results in what we term morning blood sludging, compelling your heart to exert significantly more effort and potentially harming delicate blood vessels in the brain and kidneys. This damage builds up over years and markedly accelerates aging. Consider Sylvia's experience. At 72, she faced chronic kidney problems, persistent tiredness, and concerning memory difficulties. Her physicians were contemplating dialysis. However, upon adopting the simple practice of drinking 16 ounces of water immediately upon waking, before even setting foot out of bed, her kidney function saw a remarkable 28% improvement within just 60 days. "My doctor was astonished by the transformation shown in my blood tests," Sylvia recounted. "He inquired about any new medications I was taking, and I simply told him, just water, first thing every morning. Here is the straightforward action you can take. Beginning tomorrow, place a full glass of water on your nightstand before retiring for the night. The instant you awaken, before your feet even touch the floor, consume the entire glass. Choose plain water over coffee or tea initially. Room temperature water is generally preferable, as excessively cold water can be jarring to your system first thing. Treat this as an indispensable part of your routine, just like brushing your teeth. After hours without intake, your internal organs are eagerly anticipating hydration. Don't keep them waiting any longer. Can you embrace this uncomplicated habit that holds the potential to significantly enhance your kidney function and overall cardiovascular well-being? For the world's longest living individuals, this isn't merely a suggestion, it's a fundamental necessity. Are you already doing this? If not, consider starting tomorrow. It could mark the beginning of a positive health transformation. As we delve deeper into these life-enhancing habits, if you appreciate the practical wisdom shared here on Old Age Wisdom, we'd be grateful if you'd like the video and subscribe to our channel for ongoing support in your journey toward healthy aging. Habit 2. Embrace natural morning light exposure. Could you be unknowingly disrupting your body's internal clock, your circadian rhythm, each morning? If you aren't exposing yourself to natural daylight within about 30 minutes of waking, you might be missing out on one of the most potent longevity activators identified by scientific research. Studies conducted by the National Institute on Aging demonstrate that exposure to morning sunlight shortly after waking can boost the production of melatonin, the sleep hormone, later in the day by an impressive 73%. Dr. Andrew Peterson, a leading researcher specializing in circadian health and its connection to aging, elaborates. Morning sunlight exposure initiates a complex sequence of hormonal events that influence everything from the quality of your sleep to your metabolic rate and even your cognitive acuity over the next 24 hours. Neglecting this crucial morning light signal is correlated with a 37% increased likelihood of developing neurodegenerative conditions after the age of 70. Reflect on Benjamin's situation. At 75, he had endured chronic insomnia for many years, having tried numerous remedies from prescription sleep medications to costly supplements without lasting success. His physician then proposed a remarkably simple adjustment. Spend approximately 10 minutes outdoors immediately after waking up, irrespective of the weather conditions. Within just 2 weeks, Benjamin noticed he was falling asleep more easily and experiencing more sustained sleep through the night. However, the most surprising aspect for Benjamin was the unforeseen additional advantages. My blood pressure reading dropped by 15 points, he noted, and that persistent afternoon energy slump completely vanished. All of this resulted simply from enjoying my morning coffee on the porch instead of remaining indoors. Don't postpone implementing this potentially life-altering habit. Starting tomorrow, make it a priority to get some natural sunlight within the first 30 minutes after you wake up. Even on overcast days, the ambient light outdoors is significantly brighter, often 50 to 100 times more intense than typical indoor lighting, and contains the essential light wavelengths your brain requires. If mobility presents a challenge, merely sitting beside an open window can provide substantial benefits. During winter or periods of inclement weather, you might consider using a medical-grade light therapy lamp as a supplementary measure, though natural light remains the superior option whenever possible. This practice extends beyond merely improving sleep. It's about fundamentally resetting your entire internal biological timing system to help slow down the aging process at a cellular level. Are you prepared to offer your body this simple yet profound gift tomorrow morning? Consider what might be preventing you from stepping outside or near a window tomorrow. Your body is essentially waiting for this signal to optimize its functions for better health. Habit 3. Incorporate gentle movement before breakfast. The activity, or lack thereof, you engage in before enjoying your morning coffee or tea could significantly impact how your joints feel when you reach 80 or 90. A common but detrimental error many people make is remaining sedentary until after they have consumed their first meal. This inactivity can inadvertently trigger inflammatory processes that hasten the deterioration of joint tissues. Rheumatology experts at the renowned Mayo Clinic discovered that engaging in gentle movement during the morning hours can decrease the rate of joint deterioration by as much as 65% in older adults. Dr. Lisa Monroe, Chief of Geriatric Medicine at Mayo Clinic, explains, "Our research indicates that morning movement, specifically before eating, stimulates a vital process known as autophagy. This is essentially a cellular cleanup mechanism crucial for maintaining long-term joint health. We've observed substantial differences in inflammatory markers between seniors who move before breakfast compared to those who eat first. This approach dramatically changed life for Harriet. At 68, she was facing imminent knee replacement surgery due to years of severe arthritis pain. As a final attempt to find relief, her physical therapist recommended incorporating just 7 minutes of gentle movement immediately upon waking, before consuming any food or beverages. Within 3 months, Harriet experienced such a significant reduction in pain that her surgeon decided to cancel the scheduled operation. "I genuinely believed my days of being active were finished," Harriet confessed. "Now, I can joyfully play with my grandchildren again." And it all began with those few dedicated minutes of movement each morning. Here is your straightforward plan of action. Tomorrow morning, after you've had your initial glass of water, but before any food or coffee, allocate 5 to 10 minutes for gentle, joint lubricating movements. This isn't about strenuous exercise. The focus is on movements that feel comfortable and beneficial. Try performing small, controlled circles with your ankles, knees, hips, shoulders, and wrists. Stand up and gently sway your torso from side to side. Attempt to touch your toes, or simply bend forward slightly as far as feels comfortable. The essential element is continuous, gentle motion that awakens your joints and muscles. Pay attention to how stiff your body might feel first thing in the morning. That sensation is an important signal. Don't disregard it. This brief window of opportunity right after waking activates longevity pathways that might otherwise remain inactive if you stay stationary. Will you prioritize these few valuable minutes tomorrow to help safeguard your joints for the decades ahead? Envision yourself moving with comfort and freedom at age 85 or 90. Individuals who achieve this level of mobility often aren't just genetically fortunate. They consistently practice morning rituals like this one. Will you decide to join them? Habit 4. The 30-second breathing practice. This incredibly brief breathing exercise, taking only half a minute, stands out as one of the single most impactful longevity practices commonly shared among individuals thriving past the age of 90. Yet, it's a technique that the majority of people completely overlook. Consider this. What if the manner in which you breathe first thing in the morning actually establishes your body's stress response pattern for the entire day, potentially adding or subtracting years from your overall lifespan? Researchers studying the blue zones, regions globally recognized for populations where living past 100 is commonplace, have documented that these centenarians habitually engage in specific breathing patterns. These patterns have been shown to lower indicators of cellular stress by up to an impressive 48%. Dr. Michael Cohen, who investigates longevity practices in Sardinia, Italy, reports, "We have measured noteworthy differences in inflammatory markers and stress hormone levels between individuals who practice intentional morning breathing exercises and those who do not." This concise practice seems to effectively activate the vagus nerve, essentially signaling to the body that it is safe and can allocate resources towards long-term health and longevity rather than constantly being in a state of high alert or survival mode. In the mountain villages of Sardinia, where men frequently live well into their late 90s, observers noted a consistent morning ritual among the elders. Each morning, before undertaking any other activities, they would stand outside their homes and perform a sequence of deep, measured breaths. When researchers analyzed their heart rate variability, a marker of nervous system balance, and cortisol, stress hormone, levels, they discovered patterns more commonly associated with individuals significantly younger. One 96-year-old shepherd offered a simple explanation. "I breathe deeply in the morning to ready my body for a productive day. If I happen to miss this practice, I certainly feel the effects by midday. My energy tends to dip, and my thinking becomes less clear." Here is the 30-second technique that possesses the potential to transform your health. Immediately following your morning glass of water, and ideally while exposing yourself to natural light, perform the 4-7-8 breathing method. Inhale calmly and quietly through your nose for a count of 4 seconds. Gently hold your breath for a count of 7 seconds. Then, exhale fully and audibly through your mouth for a count of 8 seconds, making a soft, whooshing sound. Repeat this entire cycle 3 or 4 times. That is all it entails, approximately 30 seconds that effectively instructs your body to engage longevity pathways instead of stress responses. Does this seem almost too simple to yield significant results? The scientific evidence is robust. This brief practice demonstrably affects blood pressure, inflammation levels, and stress hormone regulation. Will you commit to investing these 30 seconds tomorrow morning? It could very well be the most valuable health investment you ever make. Habit 5. A protein and fiber-rich breakfast. Is the meal you typically consume first thing in the morning silently undermining your prospects of living healthily beyond 90? The reality is that the breakfast choices common among many Americans might actually be contributing to an accelerated aging process, a fact many only become aware of when health issues arise later in life. Nutritional gerontologists, scientists who study nutrition in the context of aging, have pinpointed specific breakfast compositions prevalent among long-lived populations. These patterns are associated with reductions in inflammatory markers by as much as 53%. Dr. Valerie Richardson, the lead researcher at the Longevity Nutrition Institute, clarifies, the very first meal consumed each day establishes metabolic patterns that significantly influence a wide range of factors, from insulin sensitivity to levels of microinflammation throughout the body. Our extensive research demonstrates that a morning meal incorporating at least 25 grams of protein and 8 grams of fiber fosters a metabolic environment conducive to cellular repair and maintenance, rather than promoting cellular damage. Consider the case of Gerald. At 68, he received a diagnosis of prediabetes along with indicators of rising inflammation. Despite maintaining a healthy weight, his physician projected that he would likely develop full-blown diabetes within a couple of years. Rather than immediately resorting to medication, Gerald collaborated with a nutritionist to completely overhaul his breakfast habits. He transitioned from his customary breakfast of toast and coffee to a morning meal rich in both protein and fiber. 6 months later, Gerald's blood markers had returned to a completely normal range. The only significant change I made was my breakfast, Gerald stressed. My doctor was incredulous that it was possible to reverse those negative trends simply by altering one meal. Here is a suggested formula for crafting a longevity-promoting morning meal. Combine a source of high-quality protein, such as eggs, Greek yogurt, or plant-based options like tofu scramble or protein powder if preferred, with foods abundant in fiber like berries, chia seeds, oatmeal, or even incorporating vegetables like spinach into an omelet. Include a source of beneficial healthy fats, such as avocado, nuts, seeds, or a drizzle of olive oil. Crucially, make an effort to completely avoid refined carbohydrates, like white bread, pastries, sugary cereals, before 10 a.m. These types of foods tend to cause rapid spikes in insulin, a hormonal response linked to accelerated aging processes. Can you commit to making this beneficial switch starting tomorrow morning? The advantage of this habit lies in its efficiency. It doesn't necessitate finding extra time in your schedule. You are already accustomed to eating breakfast. This is simply about modifying what you consume to actively support longevity pathways instead of inadvertently triggering inflammatory ones. Is continuing with your current breakfast routine worth potentially compromising your health in your 70s, 80s, and beyond? Make the transition tomorrow, and you might begin to notice positive differences within just a few days. What will you select for your breakfast tomorrow? This choice, although seemingly minor, carries a substantial compounding impact over the years. Habit 6. Cultivate morning social connection. There exists a morning ritual potentially more potent than any nutritional supplement for extending your lifespan: meaningful human connection. Were you aware that social isolation can impact your physical health as dramatically as smoking approximately 15 cigarettes daily? What often goes unrecognized is that the timing of this connection can be nearly as crucial as the connection itself. A groundbreaking 80-year study conducted by Harvard University revealed that engaging in social connections during the morning hours correlates with increased longevity even more significantly than quitting smoking or maintaining a regular exercise routine. Dr. Robert Miller, who directed the most recent phase of this extensive multi-generational research, states, "We observed that study participants who engaged in some form of meaningful social interaction before 10 a.m. exhibited a 29% lower rate of all-cause mortality throughout the study's duration." It appears that morning social engagement sets patterns of neurotransmitter activity that provide benefits to cardiovascular and immune function throughout the remainder of the day. In Okinawa, Japan, renowned as home to some of the longest-living people globally, researcher Nancy noted an intriguing societal pattern while studying centenarians. Each morning, Neighbors would convene briefly before embarking on their daily tasks, sometimes just for a 5-minute chat. One 97-year-old woman shared, "If I don't converse with someone in the morning, my entire day feels somewhat off." We make a point to check in on one another every morning. It's a fundamental part of how we've managed to live so long. When researchers analyzed her inflammatory markers and contrasted them with those of socially isolated seniors, the disparities were remarkable, biologically equivalent to her being decades younger. Here are 3 practical ways you can incorporate this life-extending habit into your routine, starting tomorrow morning. First, consider making a brief morning phone call to a friend or family member. Even just 3 minutes of connection counts. Second, if you reside with others, consciously create a meaningful morning check-in ritual instead of merely passing each other by like ships in the night. Third, if you live alone, think about establishing a regular morning meetup with neighbors or friends, even if it's just once a week initially. If none of these seem feasible, remember that even a warm, friendly exchange with a barista at your local coffee shop or a store clerk can activate some of the same advantageous biological responses. The essential principle is to treat human connection as a non-negotiable component of your morning, much like brushing your teeth. Are you prepared to prioritize this vital aspect of well-being tomorrow? Your body fundamentally requires social connection to thrive optimally, irrespective of the supplements you take or the exercise regimens you follow. Who will you make an effort to connect with tomorrow morning? Your body awaits this critical signal to activate pathways associated with health and longevity. Habit 7. Practice directed gratitude. There is one specific mental habit that individuals thriving in their 90s consistently practice every single morning without fail: intentional gratitude. However, this isn't the ambiguous, just be thankful advice often heard. There is a particular method for practicing gratitude that actively engages longevity pathways within your brain and body. Neuroscientists at Yale University have made fascinating discoveries showing that specific morning gratitude practices can physically reshape the aging brain and lead to a reduction in cortisol, the primary stress hormone, levels by approximately 23%. Dr. Sarah Jenkins, who focuses on neuroplasticity in aging adults, explains, "We can actually observe changes in brain activity on fMRI scans when seniors consistently practice directed gratitude, particularly in the morning." The prefrontal cortex, the brain region responsible for higher-level functions like decision-making and emotional regulation, demonstrates increased activity patterns that resemble those seen in much younger brains. But the timing is indeed significant. This effect is notably more pronounced when the practice occurs within about an hour of waking. Patricia's personal story powerfully illustrates this concept. At 74, she was grappling with hypertension that proved resistant to conventional medication. Her cardiologist expressed concern regarding her overall heart function. After learning about the research on gratitude, Patricia initiated a simple morning gratitude practice, focusing deliberately on her body and health. Within a span of just 3 months, her blood pressure readings had stabilized remarkably, and her heart rate variability, HRV, a crucial indicator of cardiovascular health and resilience, showed an improvement of 31%. My doctor inquired about what medication changes I had made, Patricia recalled. When I informed him it was primarily a shift in my morning thought patterns, he was initially doubtful, until he reviewed the consistent positive readings over time. Here is the straightforward 2-minute gratitude practice that contributed to Patricia's health transformation. Immediately following your morning breathing exercise, gently place your hand over your heart area. Consciously name 3 specific aspects of your physical body for which you feel grateful, and briefly state why. For instance, I am grateful for my eyes, which allow me to behold the faces of my beloved grandchildren. I am grateful for my legs, which continue to transport me where I need to go. I am grateful for my heart, which has been beating faithfully for me throughout all these years. The critical elements here are specificity and directing the gratitude towards your own body, rather than just general life circumstances. This practice isn't based on wishful thinking. It generates a quantifiable shift in your nervous system's functioning, influencing everything from inflammation levels to immune system response. Will you consider trying this simple 2-minute practice tomorrow morning? It requires no cost, no special equipment, and holds the potential to genuinely add quality years to your life. Have you taken a moment today to thank your body for all its incredible work, or is your focus primarily on its perceived flaws or ailments? Your perspective literally has the power to alter your physiology. Now you are equipped with the knowledge of 7 powerful morning habits that possess the capability to truly transform your health journey after the age of 60, significantly enhancing your likelihood of joining the esteemed group of vibrant individuals thriving well into their 90s and beyond. It's important to remember that you don't need to achieve perfection overnight. Even incorporating just 3 of these habits consistently can initiate substantial positive changes in your health trajectory. Recall Walter's story. He began by implementing just 2 of these habits and gradually integrated the others over time. The crucial step is beginning tomorrow morning, rather than waiting indefinitely for an elusive, perfect moment that might never arrive. Your morning routine literally sets the program for your body each day, steering it either towards youthful vitality or towards accelerated aging. Which path will you consciously choose? These habits should not be viewed as optional indulgences. They represent essential practices for anyone aspiring not merely to reach their 90s, but to arrive there full of energy, mental clarity, and a continued sense of purpose. So, let's reflect. Which of these 7 impactful morning habits resonates most with you? Which one will you commit to implementing starting tomorrow morning? Remember, your future self, the vibrant and healthy person you aspire to be in the years to come, is relying on the positive decisions you make right now. If you found the information shared in this video insightful and valuable for your own health journey, please take a moment to hit the like button. And be sure to subscribe to Old Age Wisdom so you won't miss out on more potentially life-changing health secrets and practical wisdom that many people over 60 unfortunately never discover. We'd love to hear from you in the comments below. Which of these 7 morning habits are you perhaps already practicing, or which one are you most excited to try? Finally, consider sharing this video with a friend, family member, or loved one you care about. It might just be the gift of knowledge that helps add precious, healthy years to their life too.